Part 1 of Space Prison by Tom Godwin. Read by Mark Nelson. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Space Prison by Tom Godwin. Part 1. For 7 weeks, the Constellation had been plunging through hyperspace with her 8,000 colonists, fleeing like a hunted thing with her communicators silenced and her drives moaning and thundering. Up in the control room, Irene had been told the needles of the dials danced against the red danger lines day and night. She lay in bed and listened to the muffled, ceaseless roar of the drives and felt the singing vibration of the hull. We should be almost safe by now, she thought. Athena is only 40 days away. Thinking of the new life awaiting them all made her too restless to lie still any longer. She got up to sit on the edge of her bed and switch on the light. Dale was gone. He had been summoned to adjust one of the machines in the ship's X-ray room, and Billy was asleep, nothing showing of him above the covers but a crop of brown hair and the furry nose of his ragged teddy bear. She reached out to straighten the covers gently so as not to awaken him. It happened then, the thing they had all feared. From the stern of the ship came a jarring, deafening explosion. The ship lurched violently, girders screamed, and the light flicked out. In the darkness, she heard a rapid-fire thunk-thunk-thunk as the automatic guard system slid intercompartment doors shut against sections of the ship suddenly airless. The doors were still thudding shut when another explosion came from toward the bow. Then there was silence, a feeling of utter quiet and motionlessness. The fingers of fear enclosed her, and her mind said to her, like the cold, unpassionate voice of a stranger, "The Gurns have found us." The light came on again, a feeble glow, and there was the soft, muffled sound of questioning voices in other compartments. She dressed, her fingers shaking and clumsy, wishing that Dale would come to reassure her, to tell her that nothing really serious had happened, that it had not been the Gurns. It was very still in the little compartment, strangely so. She had finished dressing when she realized the reason. The air circulation system had stopped working. That meant the power failure was so great that the air regenerators themselves were dead. And there were 8,000 people on the Constellation who would have to have air to live. The attention buzzer sounded shrilly from the public address system speakers that were scattered down the ship's corridors. A voice she recognized as that of Lieutenant Commander Lake spoke. "War was declared upon Earth by the Gurn Empire 10 days ago. 2 Gurn cruisers have attacked us, and their blasters have destroyed the stern and bow of the ship. We are without a drive and without power, but for a few emergency batteries. I am the Constellation's only surviving officer, and the Gurn commander is boarding us to give me the surrender terms. None of you will leave your compartments until ordered to do so. Wherever you may be, remain there. This is necessary to avoid confusion and to have as many as possible in known locations for future instructions. I repeat, you will not leave your compartments." The speaker cut off. She stood without moving and heard again the words, "I am the Constellation's only surviving officer." The Gurns had killed her father. He had been second in command of the Dunbar expedition that had discovered the world of Athena, and his knowledge of Athena was valuable to the colonization plans. He had been quartered among the ship's officers, and the Gurn blast had destroyed that section of the ship. She sat down on the edge of the bed again and tried to reorient herself, to accept the fact that her life and the lives of all the others had abruptly, irrevocably been changed. The Athena colonization plan was ended. They had known such a thing might happen. That was why the Constellation had been made ready for the voyage in secret, and had waited for months for the chance to slip through the ring of Gurn spy ships. That was why she had raced at full speed, with her communicators silenced so there would be no radiations for the Gurns to find her by. Only 40 days more would have brought them to the green and virgin world of Athena, 400 light-years beyond the outermost boundary of the Gurn Empire. There they should have been safe from Gurn detection for many years to come, for long enough to build planetary defenses against attack. And there they would have used Athena's rich resources to make ships and weapons to defend mineral-depleted Earth against the inexorably increasing enclosure of the mighty, coldly calculating colossus that was the Gurn Empire. Success or failure of the Athena plan had meant ultimate life or death for Earth. They had taken every precaution possible, but the Gurn spy system had somehow learned of Athena and the Constellation. Now the Cold War was no longer cold, and the plan was dust. Billy sighed and stirred in the little boy's sleep that had not been broken by the blasts that had altered the lives of 8,000 people and the fate of a world. She shook his shoulder and said, "Billy." He raised up, so small and young to her eyes that the question in her mind was like an anguished prayer. Dear God, what do Gurns do to 5-year-old boys? He saw her face and the dim light, and the sleepiness was suddenly gone from him. "What's wrong, Mama? And why are you scared?" There was no reason to lie to him. "The Gurns have found us and stopped us." "Oh," he said. In his manner was the grave thoughtfulness of a boy twice his age, as there always was. Will they kill us?" "Get dressed, honey," she said. "Hurry, so we'll be ready when they let Daddy come back to tell us what to do." They were both ready when the attention buzzer sounded again in the corridors. Lake spoke, his tone grim and bitter. "There is no power for the aerogenerators, and within 20 hours we will start smothering to death. Under these circumstances, I could not do other than accept the survival terms the Gurn commander offered us. He will speak to you now, and you will obey his orders without protest. Death is the only alternative." Then the voice of the Gurn commander came, quick and harsh and brittle. "This section of space, together with planet Athena, is an extension of the Gurn Empire. This ship has deliberately invaded Gurn territory in time of war, with intent to seize and exploit a Gurn world. We are willing, however, to offer a leniency not required by the circumstances. Terran technicians and skilled workers in certain fields can be used in the factories we shall build on Athena. The others will not be needed, and there is not room on the cruisers to take them. Your occupation records will be used to divide you into 2 groups, the acceptables and the rejects. The rejects will be taken by the cruisers to an Earth-type planet near here and left, together with personal possessions in their compartments and additional and ample supplies. The acceptables will then be taken on to Athena, and at a later date the cruisers will return the rejects to Earth. This division will split families, but there will be no resistance to it. Gurn guards will be sent immediately to make this division, and you will wait in your compartments for them. You will obey their orders promptly and without annoying them with questions. At the first instance of resistance or rebellion, this offer will be withdrawn and the cruisers will go their way again." In the silence following the ultimatum, she could hear the soft, wordless murmur from the other compartments, the undertone of anxiety like a dark thread through it. In every compartment, parents and children, brothers and sisters, were seeing one another for the last time. The corridor outside rang to the tramp of feet, the sound of a dozen Gurns walking with swift military precision. She held her breath, her heart racing.